اتجه إلى اليسار، إلى اليسار.
حان الوقت لإظهار قوتنا الحقيقية. إنهم يستعينون بعزيمتنا. دعونا نريهم أننا لا نهابهم. قوية وقضيتنا عادلة. بينما نتحدث معكم الآن تقترب جحافل جيوشنا من أهدافها لكي تحقق لنا النصر.
The Malaysian Attorney General said this was at Indonesia's request. Siti Aisyah was one of two women accused of smearing nerve agent on Kim Jong-nam's face at Kuala Lumpur International Airport 2 years ago. Miss Aisyah spoke at a news conference.
I feel so happy. I did not expect that today I would be released. Thank you, my President, Mr. Jokowi. Thank you to all ministers. I want to also give thanks to the Malaysian government for releasing me.
The trial of Siti Aisyah's Vietnamese co-defendant, Don T. Huang, has been adjourned. Jonathan Head reports.
Both women say they'd been lured into what they believed were televised pranks. The two women hugged each other tearfully as the Indonesian was allowed to leave the court. Ms. Doan's lawyers are petitioning the Malaysian Attorney General for similar leniency, arguing that the real culprits, the North Korean agents who planned the operation, had all escaped. If she too is successful, it's likely no one will be held to account for one of the most shocking assassinations of modern times.
The Iranian president, Hassan Rouhani, has been greeted by his Iraqi counterpart, Barham Saleh, at the presidential palace in Baghdad. It marks the start of Mr. Rouhani's first visit to Iraq since he took office 5 years ago. Ali Hassan reports.
President Hassan Rouhani was given a red carpet welcome by his Iraqi counterpart, Barham Saleh. It's the first visit to Iraq by any Iranian president for 11 years and comes at a time when Iraq is under pressure from the United States to limit its links with the Iranian government. President Rouhani is accompanied by a large delegation
on national television. The Americans have plans for their informant.
He has acknowledged that 3 soldiers have been killed in the latest operations against militants in Sinai Peninsula. The army said nearly 50 people it described as terrorists had died. An official announcement on state-run television said more than 200 roadside bombs had been defused and large quantities of drugs seized or destroyed.
Let's move.
The Egyptian military has been fighting an Islamist insurgency in Sinai for 8 years. The British government says talks with the European Union aimed at securing changes to the draft Brexit deal will continue, despite admitting they were deadlocked. Britain's Parliament is due to vote again on the agreement on Tuesday. Here's Norman Smith.
Well, what's due to happen is we're meant to get a vote on Mrs May's deal
tomorrow, and the assumption is that will be voted down big time. Why? Because it seems there's been no real movement, no real development in the negotiations. So it's pretty much the same deal that was overwhelmingly voted by MPs back in January. There's then meant to be another vote on Wednesday where MPs will decide whether they want to take the option no deal off the table, and then another vote on Thursday which is meant to decide whether the UK wants to delay Brexit for another couple of months or so. And a former Royal Marine from Britain who lost his leg in an accident has completed the fastest unsupported solo row across the Atlantic Ocean. Lee Spencer broke the previous record set by an able-bodied athlete by 36 days. He arrived on the South America coast in French Guiana just 60 days after setting off from Portugal. Mr. Spencer said he wanted to prove that no one should be defined by their disability. He served in the British Armed Forces for 2 decades. BBC News. You're listening to the newsroom from the BBC World Service with me, Alex Ritson. Air crash investigators have recovered the black box cockpit voice and data recorders from the Ethiopian Airlines plane that crashed on Sunday, killing all 157 people on board. The aircraft crashed into farmland near Addis Ababa shortly after taking off from the capital, bound for the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Ethiopia has declared a day of national mourning. The Ethiopian Airlines CEO Tiwolde Gebremariam said everything would be done to find out what had caused the plane to crash, and he said he had the fullest confidence in his airline.
We have more than 300 flights a day, and it's a very safe airline, and the operation is running very smoothly. This is a very isolated and unfortunate accident, and we are taking care of the families and friends and relatives of the bereaved passengers and crew.
Among those on board were doctors, academics, and a well-known Nigerian writer, Pius Osasanni. The United Nations says 19 of its staff they were on their way to attend a meeting of the United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi. As the conference got underway, delegates observed a minute's silence. Satya Tripathi is the United Nations Assistant Secretary General who's at the meeting.
There are numerous colleagues, both from the UN as well as civil society, delegations from member states. So yes, I knew a lot of them, and it is really tragic times for all of us here. The mood is very somber, but the true celebration of their lives would be to rededicate ourselves to the very important task at hand and do everything we can to reverse the adverse impacts of climate change and environmental degradation.
I asked our reporter Larry Maduo in Nairobi to tell us the latest.
Alex, at the airport here, people are waiting for information from Ethiopian Airlines on how quickly they can receive the bodies of their loved ones. Because of the impact of this crash, there's going to be need for a forensic investigation to identify them. And Ethiopian Airlines has told us as soon as that's done, they will be releasing the bodies to their families. Nearly 35 nationalities represented. This might take some time. The investigations have also begun into the cause of the crash, including aviation authorities in Ethiopia, and officials traveling to the crash site southeast of the Ethiopian capital in Addis Ababa.
Larry, when we last spoke, the families were just leaving the airport, being taken on to somewhere else. What is being done to support them at this time?
At this emergency setup is not too far from here, the Nairobi airport. They are getting credible, verified information. If they need any form of support, that's what the Kenyan authorities are giving to them. And there's also a special setup for counseling for any of the family members that might need it. And it's quite possible that some of them will do, because we saw some of them who were needing to be held yesterday, who needed support. There was a lot of sobbing as the news sifted through that there were no survivors of that crash. Many of them had been waiting here for last morning, waiting for their loved ones to arrive Sunday morning, and had quite a lot of grief yesterday. So that's continuing today.
Larry Maduo at the airport in Nairobi. So what caused the Boeing 737 MAX 8 to crash shortly after takeoff? It's a question airlines around the world are asking. It's the second disaster involving the model in 6 months. A similar 737 MAX 8 operated by Lion Air in Indonesia crashed also shortly after takeoff in October, carrying 189 people. Ethiopia has grounded its Max 8 aircraft. American Airlines will bring the same aircraft to save their monitoring situation. Perhaps more significantly, China has ordered all of its Boeing 737 MAX 8 jets to be grounded indefinitely for checks. Our correspondent in China is Robin Brandt. I asked him why Beijing had taken such a swift decision.
Well, it certainly was swift, and I think on the face of it, it's with an abundance of caution. The order was issued this morning. It affects 96 aircraft that are in service inside the borders of China, all of them 737 MAX aircraft. The domestic airlines that fly them, and I think the flag carrier Air China had the most, had until 6 o'clock local time to land all these aircraft. In a brief statement from China's Civil Aviation Administration, it cited the similarities in the two crashes that I think you've just gone through. It also talked about management principles of zero tolerance for safety hazards. This grounding is indefinite, so we don't know for how long it will apply. And in fact, all the administration here would say is that until it's confirmed, quote, the relevant measures to effectively ensure flight safety, it will not authorize these planes back in the sky. I think one key bit of context here, I think China's a huge market for Boeing. 1 in 4 new Boeing planes come here. Boeing actually has an assembly plant that puts together planes. As of last year, it was putting together and delivering these models, 737 MAX 8s here in China. I think Boeing is featuring very prominently at the moment in the trade negotiations between the United States and China. There have been some reports that big deals involving big new purchases of Boeing airlines may feature in that Trump-Xi Jinping deal, if indeed it comes in the next couple of weeks.
The Chinese market, then, an important one for Boeing. What's this going to mean, though, for airlines within China? Is this going to massively disrupt travel?
100 airlines almost is fairly significant, but there are far more diverse a range of aircraft among the domestic carriers. China Southern, China Eastern are the biggest. I mean, you say it's important for Boeing, the Chinese market. It is absolutely crucial for Boeing and for Airbus, because growth in this market is going to be immense over the next 20, 30 years. China itself is trying to develop its own homemade jetliner, the C91 Veil. Last year it's been flown, but delivery delayed. That is a challenger to the 737. It's also looking at a wider body jet that's going to challenge bigger jets. So, not only does Boeing have to try and deal with international competitors, but also now burgeoning Chinese domestic manufacturers.
Robin Brandt in Beijing. Much attention inevitably is turning to the plane itself and its maker, Boeing. So what is the case for grounding the 737 MAX 8? It's a question I put to our business correspondent, Theo Leggett.
Well, there are superficial similarities between what happened to the Lion Air aircraft in Indonesia in October and what appears to have happened to this aircraft now. Now, if investigators think that there is a common flaw which caused both of these accidents, then grounding while that fault is rectified would be a possibility. That said, it's very easy for us on the outside to jump to conclusions. That is something that investigators almost never do, which is why Boeing has already sent a team to Addis Ababa to look at the wreckage site, because the investigation process, the first thing you do is you look at the accident site. Best of it's left untouched. Unfortunately, in this case, it does appear that a lot of people have been through the accident site. But they will look at the wreckage, try and get clues there, but they'll try and get all the evidence they can, proper evidence together. And if in the early stages of the investigation there is significant reason to believe there is a fundamental fault with the aircraft, then the Federal Aviation Administration in the United States, for example, would consider grounding the plane. If that happens, it would be very serious for Boeing. But, as I say, it's very important not to jump to conclusions, because the investigators will not be doing so.
Theo Leggett, you're listening to the BBC World...
for you. You got two choices.
It's him.
Nikolai, are you alright? Can you walk?
Yes, I can still fight. Thank you for getting me out of here.
Big Bird, this is Bravo 6. We have the package. Meet us at LZ1. Over. Bravo 6, this is Big Bird. We're on our way. Out.
Let's go.
already attacked Al-Assad.
No, their invasion begins in a few hours. Why?
The Americans are making mistakes. They will never take Al-Assad alive.
Marines, spotters have a possible fix on Al-Assad in a building at the west end of this town. We're going to secure the perimeter and grab Al-Assad. Hoorah! Lock and load.
잠깐만 있어봐.